Divorce Dad while there's still a chance. Excuse me? The words slipped out inadvertently as my daughter Mary woke me up early one morning. For an adult, it's a heavy phrase to digest. So, I asked Mary to elaborate. She responded, Dad's going to say bye-bye to you. Wait, bye-bye? Is that true? Yeah, so you've got to do it fast. I doubted Mary's words, finding it hard to believe that Richard, my husband, would think that way. Yet Mary's eyes fixed intently on mine, far more serious than one would expect from a 5-year-old. I couldn't believe those determined eyes would lie. All right, Mary, get ready. With that said, we quickly packed our things and left the house. My name is Jennifer Smith. I live with my husband, Richard, and our 5-year-old daughter, Mary. I met Richard in college, and we married right after I graduated. I initially thought I'd support him as a housewife, but when his job didn't pan out, I had to work. After becoming pregnant, I quit my job, intending to focus on raising Mary and managing the household. However, it didn't go smoothly, mainly due to Richard. After college, Richard got a job in a major company, but his reserved nature and ineptitude caused him to quit. He hopped from one job to another until he finally secured his current position 4 years ago. Richard believes we're financially stable, but in reality, we're far from it. With his earnings, our future looks uncertain. Welcome home. After finishing work, Richard handed me the month's living expenses. He smiled happily, then went into another room to change from his suit. While appreciative, I couldn't help but give a wry smile as I looked at the money. We have a 5-year-old daughter, and her needs make the cost of living incomparably higher than when it was just the two of us. Having a little extra cash is helpful, but it doesn't solve our deeper financial issues. But there's a limit to that. The money my husband allocates for household expenses is always $500. Honestly, it's not enough. Deep down, I wish he'd give a bit more, but outright telling him seems a bit harsh. Despite being a full-time employee, Richard's monthly take-home pay is only $1,500. The pay is so low that I sometimes wonder if his company is doing okay. Knowing this, I can't really ask for more, especially considering his ever-smiling face, which makes it even harder. There's another reason I can't say anything. Once I told him I wished we had more money for expenses, and his reaction was intense. Do you expect me to give even more? Do you realize how hard I'm working for this little pay? I had just tried to discuss our increasing expenses since our daughter was born, but Richard got really mad. I should have considered his situation before speaking. But with all the child-rearing duties, I was busy and didn't have the time to think about his feelings. Maybe you could consider finding a job that pays better. Stop nagging. I like my current job. You don't work, so don't comment on my choices. I'm sorry. Richard is generally a man of few words to outsiders. He's seen as quiet and gentle. But at home, he acts like the head of the household, a real traditionalist. Even the smallest comment that he doesn't like will set him off. It has become a bit of a trauma for me, and now I'm always walking on eggshells when I talk to him. Then, at one such moment, "Are you okay, Mom?" "Huh? Oh, I'm fine, Mary. Thanks for worrying about me." "You're welcome." While I work from home, balancing taking care of Mary and doing household chores, but there's a limit to that. The money my husband allocates for household expenses is always $500. Honestly, it's not enough. Deep down, I wish he'd give a bit more, but outright telling him seems a bit harsh. Despite being a full-time employee, Richard's monthly take-home pay is only $1,500. The pay is so low that I sometimes wonder if his company is doing okay. Knowing this, I can't really ask for more, especially considering his ever-smiling face, which makes it even harder. There's another reason I can't say anything. Once I told him I wished we had more money for expenses, and his reaction was intense. Do you expect me to give even more? Do you realize how hard I'm working for this little pay? I had just tried to discuss our increasing expenses since our daughter was born, but Richard got really mad. I should have considered his situation before speaking. But with all the child-rearing duties, I was busy and didn't have the time to think about his feelings. Maybe you could consider finding a job that pays better. Stop nagging. I like my current job. You don't work, so don't comment on my choices. I'm sorry. Richard is generally a man of few words to outsiders. He's seen as quiet and gentle. But at home, he acts like the head of the household, a real traditionalist. Even the smallest comment that he doesn't like will set him off. It has become a bit of a trauma for me, and now I'm always walking on eggshells when I talk to him. Then, at one such moment, "Are you okay, Mom?" "Ha! I'm fine, Mary. Thanks for worrying about me." "You're welcome." While I work from home, balancing taking care of Mary and doing household chores. "What the hell are you doing? Shut up." While we shouted at each other, our daughter cried uncontrollably on the side. Perhaps agitated even more by that, he moved towards our crying daughter. I instantly knew this was bad, so I shielded her. "Go away." "No." My husband raised his right arm and then swung it down. The sound echoed through the room. Then, without a word, he went to the back room, changed into his casual clothes, and headed out somewhere. I held my daughter tightly. "Mary, are you okay?" She wasn't crying like before, but perhaps frightened by a side of my husband she'd never seen. She trembled slightly in my arms. Once I felt she had calmed down, I headed to the bathroom. Wow, that's quite a bruise. A bruise that anyone could clearly see. Thankfully, it's not severe enough to warrant a trip to the hospital. However, I can't fathom why Richard got so angry. Was he upset because I bought a toy for Mary, or because it was the same toy she already had? Still, the distress I feel for my husband after what he did isn't easily dismissed. The thought of it possibly happening again is something I really don't want to dwell on. 2 hours later, Richard returned. Even though our eyes met, he didn't say anything and headed straight to the bedroom, grabbing his pajamas on his way to the bathroom. After his bath, he went straight to bed. I was scared he might do something again, but was relieved when he fell asleep immediately. I decided to sleep in the living room with Mary. I was jolted awake the next morning by a loud noise. It seems Richard had left for work. Yesterday's events flashed through my mind, making me let out an involuntary sigh. Beside me, Mary was sound asleep. I gently stroked her head, fervently hoping for an uneventful day. 3 months have passed since that incident, and thankfully, life has been smooth. Richard has been working hard as usual, and I've been taking care of the house and Mary, while also managing my remote job, leading a life just like before. I brought a cake from that popular pastry shop today. Come on, try it. Thank you, Daddy. Where's mine? Sorry, Mary. I didn't get one for you today. It's just for Mom. I'll get you one next time, all right? Ever since that day, my husband seems like a different man. He, who was always so reserved in public, began to talk more, stopped acting all high and mighty at home, and became kinder to me and Mary. Probably, that incident changed his perspective. However, there's one thing that still concerns me. The moment he hands me the monthly expenses, his salary remains meager as always, yet he started giving me his entire paycheck for household expenses. Here's for this month. Salary is still low. But this should be more than enough, right? Hold on, the whole thing again? We don't need this much. The extra I earn from working at home covers it just fine. Yeah, true. But hey, I'm the breadwinner of this family, right? If I only gave like $500 for expenses, wouldn't that be embarrassing? People would laugh if they knew. It's off-putting. Despite the changes, he seems entirely different. At that moment, I felt an indescribable unease. Hey, Dad, let's play with me. Oh, it's been a while. Sure. What do you want to do? Let's see, it was a sight I hadn't seen in a long time. Until recently, my husband and Mary used to play together every day. However, after that incident, Mary had kept her distance from him. I was surprised when Mary, who had been avoiding her father, asked him to play with her. Watching them head to Mary's room, Mary glanced back at me for just a moment. Her eyes at that time seemed to be pleading something to me. 1 hour later, Mary came to the living room. The moment she saw me, she said that her father would be going on a business trip. Mom, Dad said he's going to be on a business trip from tomorrow. A business trip? He didn't mention anything to me. He always used to inform me whenever he was leaving for a business trip, but this time he hadn't. Later, when my husband came to the living room, I asked him about the trip. It came up suddenly. Suddenly? When? Where are you headed? It's quite far. This one's a crucial trip, and there are some secrets involved. I had never heard of a secret business trip. His inconsistent explanations made me feel uneasy. But I just went to bed that night. The next day, I was awakened by a clattering noise coming from the living room. What? Did I wake you up? My husband was getting ready for a business trip. You're leaving already? Going to start work as soon as I get there, so thought I'd leave with some extra time. It's good to be early, but it's only 5 a.m., isn't it? Why so soon? Well, I'm just a low-ranking employee. I should be there earlier than others arrive. Saying that, he quickly left for his business trip. His behavior felt off. Something was definitely amiss. Just as I thought that, suddenly, our daughter woke up and said, "You should divorce Dad now." Excuse me? I unintentionally let out a surprised remark. I mean, for her to wake up this early and tell me to divorce her father was unexpected. Even an adult would be taken aback by such words. Why would my little girl say this? I asked her to explain in detail. He's planning to say bye-bye to you. Wait, bye-bye? Is that true? Yeah, so you have to act fast. It's not that I doubted what she said, but it was hard to believe that he'd think of such a thing. But her eyes, they stared straight into mine. Those eyes were more serious than you'd expect from a 5-year-old. There was something in that earnest look that made it hard to believe she was lying. All right, Mary, let's get ready right now. Saying that, we quickly packed and left the house. A few days later, I received a frantic call from him. Hey, where are you? I came back from my trip, and nobody's home, and all your stuff's gone. What's going on? Welcome back. How was your trip? Must have been boring going all alone, huh? What? What are you talking about? No use playing dumb. I know the business trip was a lie. My husband's business trips were all a lie. That's crazy. Why would I lie about a business trip? If you're so concerned, call the company. They'll set things straight. You'll see if I'm lying or if you're just paranoid. Oh, really? Should I call them? Huh? You think if you say that, I won't actually call? Is that why you're being so bold? But the thing is, I'm certain you're lying because I already checked with the company. They told me you've taken a 3-day break and asked if I hadn't heard about it. He let out a small gasp on the other end. My husband, who had left the house saying it was for a business trip, had been spending nights in his car, switching locations. So nobody would spot him, huh? My husband probably didn't think I'd go that far. Sure, the old me would have just believed what he said about his business trips and wouldn't have thought to call this company to verify. But this time, it's different. All thanks to our daughter. Mary told me that your business trips were lies. What? Mary? No way. There's no way Mary would know that. You must have put that idea in her head, didn't you? That's impossible. You know as well as I do that even though Mary's only 5, she's observant. She watches everything closely, including what we're doing and thinking. Despite being just 5, Mary has a mature perspective, probably because of all the TV dramas I watch. She was always fussy as a baby. I thought she'd grow out of it, but with her, it lasted longer and was worse than I ever imagined. During those times, I'd often watch TV dramas while trying to soothe her. Even now, as she's gotten older, she continues to watch them habitually, from the latest shows to old ones, and even 2-hour mystery dramas. If she can't watch it all, she'll record it to watch later. Her love for dramas even surprises me at times. Because of this, her way of thinking and speaking has naturally matured. You said it before, didn't you? That as the head of the family, it's your job to protect us. That you know what's best for the family. Yeah, I did. I am the head of this household. I know you guys better than anyone. Well then, you must know what I'm going to say next. Yeah, of course. In that case, I don't hesitate to say, I'm going to divorce you. What? When I mentioned divorce, he naturally opposed it strongly. Divorce? Why? What did he like about me? It's not about liking or disliking. I'm divorcing you to protect myself before you erase me. What? I don't get what you're saying. My husband suddenly grew silent. I pressed on. If you don't get it, then let me explain it to you. It all started when Mary told me she wanted us to get divorced. At first, I thought, divorce? Why? But right after that, when Mary said, bye-bye, I realized she had picked it up from TV dramas. Mary, who loves any and all TV shows, especially enjoyed mystery dramas. In those shows, there are almost always scenes where someone dies. After watching them, Mary must have intuitively felt that causing someone pain and making them stop breathing was a bad thing. Every time one of those scenes played, she would say to me, "Hey, Mom, that lady just went bye-bye. And earlier, it was a man. Is that guy bad?" That's right. People who make others go bye-bye like that are bad. I see. In other words, when Mary said bye-bye, she was talking about someone dying. And then she told me, Daddy's trying to make you go bye-bye. If I hadn't been watching those shows with her, I would have never understood her. Had I not spent quality time with Mary, I wouldn't have caught on, and without a doubt, I would have ended up dead at the hands of my husband. You really think I'd do something like that? You must have said it because it's the truth, right? Cut the crap. Why the hell would I want to harm my own wife? And you? Believing something a 5-year-old says, and then considering divorce. You've got to be kidding me. It seemed like arguing with him was futile at this point. I needed to show him undeniable evidence. If you're so adamant, I'll show you the evidence. Evidence of your attempt to take my life. I hung up the phone, then sent an image to him. Moments later, he called back. Why do you have this? What is this? Surprised, he must have received the evidence I sent him. What I sent him was a detailed plan from his phone to end my life. When he returned from his business trip, he was going to take me and Mary on a drive, drug us with a drink containing sleeping pills, leave us in the car, then pretend to be the one who found us. Worse, in the same vein, he intended to harm our daughter as well. A plan so sinister it was hard to believe anyone could think of it. By the way, I found out about this thanks to Mary. When our daughter Mary played with him, Mary hurried to her and said, "Mom, look at this." She handed her his phone. On the screen was the entire plan he had come up with. The plan detailed his grievances against me, despite him working as an office employee. I working from home earned more, which wounded his pride. Over time, his pride turned to jealousy. He began to think that without me, his pride would remain intact. So he started researching ways to get rid of me online. You went through my phone. I didn't intend to, not until Mary told me. The reason Mary knew what was on his phone dates back a while. Once, Mary asked him to watch a TV drama. However, my husband wouldn't give up the TV he was watching. So he told our daughter to play a game instead and handed her his cell phone. When our daughter unlocked the phone to play a game, she came across a screen she had never seen before. But that screen was the meticulous plan my husband had made to get rid of me. That screen was eerily similar to a plot from a TV drama she had watched. That's how Mary realized what he was planning. You had no right to snoop. How can you even say that? You realized what you were planning, right? I'm just glad I trusted Mary. If not, who knows where she and I would be now. He hung up without another word. Right after that, an email popped up on my cell. It read, "Don't think this is over. I've got plans too." 2 hours later, to my shock, my husband showed up at my parents' house. "I knew you'd be here." "How'd you know I was here?" "I always knew you'd run back home. It's pretty obvious." Behind me, our daughter looked terrified. "Go to the back room." She nodded and headed to the back room. I never thought he'd come all the way to my parents, but now that he's here, I have no choice but to face him. "So, what brings you here? Surely you're not trying to take us back, are you?" "That's exactly why I'm here. We're a family after all. We should be together. Together? You who's been threatening Mary and me, give me a break. The confrontation continued. Don't worry about what happened before. I've changed. Let's live happily, just the three of us. For you and Mary, it's definitely a lie. I can see it in your eyes. I've told you before, I'm going to divorce you. I've already consulted a lawyer. A lawyer, huh? Well, they mean nothing if I don't agree. That might be true, but it won't come to that. What do you mean? Then I showed him something. Isn't that the plan? I recorded. What's the point in showing me that now? Trying to threaten me with it? Even so, I ain't going to divorce you. I'm not as low as you to threaten you. If I did, people would think I'm just like you. What I did was tell the police everything along with all the evidence. What? The cops? Of course. You think I wouldn't do anything when my own husband's trying to kill me. Hearing about the police, he looked enraged and lunged at me. I tried to shut the front door in haste, but he forced it open with his strength. You think this is a joke? He was a completely different person, not the mild-mannered husband I knew. In the face of his raging strength, I felt helpless. Mama. From behind, I heard Mary's voice. Looking back, I saw her trembling in fear, but still looking at us. She's so scared. It's okay, sweetie. Mama will protect you. Saying that, I felt the newfound strength. Maybe it's the power of a mother trying to protect her child. I tried with all my might to close the door, but his strength was beyond anything I imagined. I just can't anymore. It was then. What are you doing? At the same time as the voice, my husband was blown back, screaming in horror. Huh! Trying to make sense of what had just happened. I peeked outside through a small gap in the front door. Jennifer, are you okay? Dad? Just in the nick of time, my father appeared. Dad, why are you here? I thought you were on a business trip starting today. I forgot something at home, just came back to grab it. I felt the huge relief knowing he was here, even if it was just a coincidence. But what the heck is going on here? Oh, gulping in fear of my father's intense aura. My husband seemed to lose all strength in his legs and just collapsed right there on the spot. And it's understandable. My dad stands tall at 6'3" and is built solid, having practiced judo during his school days. Even now, he keeps himself fit by hitting the gym regularly. He doesn't look a day over 60 with his impressive physique. Even the young and reckless would avoid messing with my dad. There's no way my husband could stand a chance against him. So, you're going to tell me why you're here and what you were planning to do to my daughter and granddaughter. Unable to bear the tension any longer, my husband tried to leave, tears streaming down his face. But in the next moment, several men grabbed him. Don't move. What the let go? Get off me! Struggling, my husband was subdued by several police officers and was taken away right then and there. That was close. By the way, what brought Richard here? He probably came to say one last extreme goodbye. Later, my husband, who was arrested, was sentenced to 10 years in prison for attempting to harm me and my daughter. During that time, my parents, my daughter, and I moved far away just to be on the safe side. I left all matters related to our divorce, child support, and property settlement to my lawyer, ensuring I didn't have to see my husband. Half a year later, I heard from my lawyer that my ex-husband was serving his sentence as a model inmate. However, after finishing his sentence, he's going to work offshore, which means he won't be leading a decent life for quite some time. On the other hand, I've been living happily in our new home with my daughter and parents. Mary, could you take this over to Grandpa and Grandma? Yeah, just be careful not to drop it. I'll be fine. These days, unlike before, our days are filled with laughter, free from stress. I sincerely hope these days last forever.